You know, it was Frédéric Chopin who said, music is my second me, or it's my second ego. But when people ask me, when I'm living abroad, where is your home? Where would you like to be? Have you been homesick? And I don't think I thought twice about the answer, because ever since this question, I realized my home is my music. My name is Marialena Fernandez. I come from India. I was born in Bombay, now Mumbai. Grew up in a Portuguese colonized family where we spoke English at home, although my father speaks 5 Indian languages. But we were very traditional minded and we loved our country very, very much. We were very, very happy to be there, except for the problem that music became I can't say my second love, was it my first love? And with that, I was able to come abroad. I finished my graduation in psychology and in philosophy. And 50 years ago, I got a scholarship, came first to Munich, and have been living in Vienna since then. Yes, this is one of my favorite photographs because it was at a wedding and an uncle of mine was playing the violin, and that's my mother singing, and I'm accompanying her. It was very difficult because it was a small hall and I couldn't really see her, and she said, just listen to my breath. And it worked. So I'm trying to leave out the word right and wrong in my concept of what music means to me. And the best way I can do it is to share it. And so it doesn't make a difference to me whether I play Beethoven in a very classical way, or I play the Beatles in a very pop art way, but I also love Frank Sinatra. And I definitely love Lata Mangeshkar, who was the singer, the playback singer of most Bollywood songs. So very soon I played by ear. I didn't need music books. And of course, when it came to practicing for my teacher, my guru, my mentor, she said, now you leave all your jazz away because now you have one truth, and that is the creator of the piece you are interpreting. So right through my life, I went through several journeys. I believe life is a journey, and my musical life has been a constant journey from the day I was born till I hope the day I die. I started teaching without having been educated or instructed on teaching pedagogical things, but I thought I could give my inspiration through my energy to kids. And I loved teaching children. It was always because I felt we think that they are tiny, but they have minds and they have brains. And if we only allow them to use their little minds, then we can learn a lot from them. And sometimes I got that feeling even when I was teaching older students, because I found I should not disturb them. Sometimes we want to tell them everything and tell them what's right and tell them, and then with time I realized many of them have much more to tell me, and maybe not through words but through their music. So I started teaching kids, and then what was very exciting is not only to teach them piano but to teach them 4 hands and 6 hands. So I had 2 little kids sitting next to each other on one stool, tiny little things, and playing 4 hands on one piano. And it was amazing how this feeling of giving and taking came naturally. One was playing louder. At the beginning they'd both be bashing around, then they found there was no melody. And I didn't have to say very much for a long time till they discovered their own method and way of playing together. So 4 hands became quite an important part of my life. And not only 4 hands, but on 2 pianos. I know I did a beautiful experiment with a young little girl, gorgeous little girl who had no idea what I was playing, and she just felt accepted. So she sat there and used her own little energy, and I thought, okay, she's asking me without saying one word to do the same. So I followed her little form, and I think we had a great time. I've been teaching for many years. I think I notice a very strong change, a sort of a metamorphosis between the last generation and the new. And the simple reason and the answer to that is digital world. The digital world and the virtual world has, on the one hand, been a great progress and very big advantage for all of us to communicate worldwide. On the other hand, the youth of today don't need to go to concerts. They don't need to make it possible for them to listen to music, live performances in the halls, because they have it all online. And I think it's an important stage. We don't need to condemn them for that. The only thing we can do as teachers and as parents and as instructors and educators to accept what they're doing, to respect their ideas, and to give them the chance to go with the flow, and to say, as long as we have the physical and mental capacity to discuss with them what their ideas and thoughts for the future are. And I'm sure things will become much better. And again, I believe very strongly in divine guidance. I think that's probably the Indian in me, the spiritual part of my life. But there's something which is beyond something which you cannot express and explain. And it was like an inspiration. The lockdown started in March and the summer, and I felt very sorry for these wonderful students who couldn't play. Some of them went out and tried, dared to, and got infected. Others didn't dare to, and so got no concerts. And there was this inspiration from somewhere, and I thought there have been so many wonderful people who have supported me for the last 50 years. 50 years ago, they were all 20 and 30. Now they're all 70 and 80. I mean, fortunately, I've remained 20, at least in my mind. So I realized that music has no borders. It doesn't matter what I play. I seem to attract something in the listener, and it became such almost a virus. This was like something which turned viral, because as soon as the Schallenbergs heard me play, they mentioned this to friends of theirs who again invited me. And by the end of 2 years, I had played 37 concerts for 2. In between, it had become Concert for You, because lockdown was over and people were inviting family members, neighbors. So we were a group of 8 to 10 people in a salon atmosphere. And it was like going back 300 years, where Joseph Haydn and Wolfgang Amadeus and Schubert were all invited to play in homes for friends. And it's been a great experience for me, and that's probably the point where I realized I've brought out something out of these interested people, where they suggest what they want to hear and I try to improvise, and it becomes a quiz by the end of the hour, because they have to guess what they've heard and I have to try and put their suggestions and requests into a small little piece. So it's a very exciting experience for me. We have Mozart and Beethoven because I came to Austria, to Europe first, because I won a Beethoven prize. And Beethoven came from Germany to Austria, just like I came from Germany to Austria, through Mozart's spirit in Haydn's hands. So on the opposite wall, I have Joseph Haydn. So Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven mean very much to me. It's very close to my heart because it was something I didn't expect. In 2008, the University of Music and Performing Arts sent me a message saying they would like to, I have been recommended for an award given by the Ministry of Art and Culture called MIA. In German, it's like Migrants in Austria, MIA. It's the year 2022, which is the 75th year of Indian independence. And since I've been living here a long time, and I've always, every year I go back to India because I cannot forget my roots. But for me, it's not only a holiday, it's not only meeting family and friends, but bringing something. I feel I'm like a musical ambassador. I take it there, and I've gone a step further. Since 2015, I invite young musicians, talented musicians from my university whom I take along, and have tried to make this project called The Quest for Passion. And it has caught on so well that these wonderful young European musicians who have come there, whom I thought would bring something from here to India, have brought back so many more, so much information, so much more inspiration from the Indian people. Because I will never stop repeating that music is a language which doesn't need speech. And the embassy in Vienna caught hold of me and said, listen, why don't you do something for us? We are having a Jubilee celebration of 75 years. And we're having it in Vienna. You have been living here since 50 years. Would you like to be our musical bridge between Austria and India? And it was the most exciting challenge I've had for a long time, because I felt I have a responsibility to the country of my birth, to my native country, and be able to tell 50% of the audience, and we had almost 200 people. The Music University was so kind to give me the big hall, and we had a packed house. We had people sitting on the stage, and I sort of divided my program between improvisations of Indian ragas, the scale, smuggled into Mozart, Beethoven and Chopin. other hand, I played Konkani song, on which I wrote my dissertation, my thesis for my PhD, in which I made the audience, and it was really almost like 200 people singing with me in a language they had never sung before, because this is Konkani. But it didn't matter, because there was this common subject of music.
To whom who know Marialena, I don't have to explain much. To whom who don't, well, then I think I don't have enough time here to explain how versatile she really is. When I met her first, I realized that she's a very fine pianist at the first sight, and a wonderful personality when I met her later, and how creative she is in her entire musical field. I learned by the years that there are no borders she is having, and she tries everything she thinks could be interesting and new and exciting, and her passion leads her usually to a good result.
And I started playing the Beatles. I have no idea why, but it was obviously the right choice, because I had these 300 people around me singing, and we went on sort of a fusion between Satisfaction and Michelle and Hey Jude. And I remember some of the tourists coming forward. They couldn't help themselves but coming forward to the piano and singing with me. Some of them suggested songs which I had never heard. I tried my best.
I know Professor Dr. Marialena Fernandez since almost 20 years. In professional context, I had to organize several events, and on these occasions she friendly offered various musical support. It was a cogent consequence that I found pleasure to attend series of her numerous concerts, for example, Uno, Due, Tre, performed in the Wiener Musikverein. Her outstanding ability to fascinate her audience in almost all thinkable musical contexts covers a broad spectrum. Above all, being known as a worldwide estimated piano virtuoso, as initiator of numerous musical projects in the fields of classic, musical, soul, jazz, and even revolutionary experiments with unusual instrumental combinations. With her outstanding skills in instant improvisations and crossovers to any kind of music, including her rather singular capacity to transfer well-known specific individual style characteristics of certain composers into the interpretation of musical creations of other not less popular composers, she, according to potential wishes of the audience, may surprise with utmost attractive rhythm and sound effects. The example of Marialena Fernandez' musical contributions to mutual understanding among the variety of human cultures interests and views all over the world justifies optimistic hopes for the future, even, or better, especially in chaotic times.